is a German anatomist and pathologist. I know what you're thinking, not another one on the show, but this one's different. Who shocked the world with his exhibitions of real dead bodies. It is Gunther von Hagens, ladies and gentlemen. Guten Abend, Gunther.
Guten Abend. Nice to
Now, Gunther is part doctor, part artist. He creates fascinating and beautiful, I think, works of art from human corpses. And I tell you, when Brucey saw him coming down the corridor at the BBC, there was panic. He's barricaded himself in the dressing room. No. Gunther von Hagens, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Gunther, for coming on the programme. Guessed that, ladies and gentlemen? I think we should. It's something of a first for us. Will you please welcome someone who I think is probably the world's only German showbiz live pathologist, Dr. Gunther von Hagens.
He did the mash, he did the monster mash, it was a graveyard smash. He did the mash, got on in a flash. He did the mash, the monster mash.
Have a seat, sir. Lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I'll speak a bit slower because, of course, German is your first language.
Right, you are more challenged than my corpses because you talk like a machine gun.
I talk like a machine gun. I should imagine your corpses don't talk at all, do they?
That's the difference.
That's the difference, yes. Do you feel comfortable, more comfortable with the dead than the living?
Very, yeah, because what comes out is the result of my work and which I'm proud of, what I can do with you.
I feel like we're flirting. OK, let me ask you, to me you're very familiar. I've admired your work for a few years now, since I first became aware of it, and I'm sure some people here, many people here will know who you are. Others won't be familiar yet. How do you describe what you do? What is it you do? What is the description you would give it? I'm
a public anatomist. What I do, I use body donors, which I transform into a new entity to bring them into a new anatomical teaching specimen.
So you take what once were people, that now are corpses, the spirit, whatever it is, the soul is left?
I wouldn't say corpses, I would say they are plastinates because they...
Well, initially they're corpses. When they come to you, it's a corpse.
Absolutely.
And then you do something to them. What is it you do to them to get them into that state? Because from the look of it, you peel them. Is that I don't know if that's the medical term.
What I do, I dissect them, and after dissection, I take the water out and put by vacuum process plastic in.
OK. Can I stop and ask you?
Without water, no decay.
Yeah. When did this idea first occur to you or to whoever it did? Because it's quite a leap, isn't it, to think, I've got a corpse here, I'll cut them up, fair enough, have a look around, that's human knowledge, we want to have a little nose, OK? And we're all a bit nosy. And then, I'll take the water out. You take the water and then go, I know what I do, I'll put plastic back in. I wouldn't think of that. I don't think most people would. Who thought of that first? Was it you?
Because I came to the anatomy department and I was a greenhorn and I went in and I saw as the latest development big blocks of plastic, transparent plastic, inside a small specimen. And I asked the curator why you don't push the plastic inside so you can grasp it.
So you saw so for example, an eyeball or something inside a block of plastic to stop it from decaying, and then you thought, push the plastic in.
Yeah, and he said, you are an idiot, you cannot do it. And this buggered my mind.
It buggered your mind.
I thought we go to the moon.
We don't actually have that expression. I think we're losing some of the translation. You were confounded by it, perplexed.
I was perplexed.
So presumably, how do you do this? You don't force the plastic back in the same way. Is it in plastic, and when you pull out the liquid, it just goes in? Is it like a vacuum exists and it sucks the liquid in?
Exactly. I have an intermediary step. I put the specimen first in a cold acetone. This is a solvent, and the acetone replaces the water. And with the acetone, I can do everything because acetone starts to boil in vacuum. And this is actually the decisive step.
Now, you know, what we're talking about here is obviously it's science and there's a certain amount of chemistry involved here, but of course, ultimately, we're talking about the remains of people. Do you never get squeamish? Was there ever a period when you thought, oh, it's weird what I'm doing, it's strange to be working with what was once people?
I was used to corpses from the very early. Already with 17, I sneaked into an autopsy room. When I was 6 years old, only the doctors, after I got an injury, they told me, well, probably he will not make it. And so I thought, well, I will not wake up again.
You had an accident, did you?
Absolutely, yeah, with an iron door to my temple, and I was bleeding. I was so weak I could not even raise my head. And then they rushed me
a little boy?
a little boy rushed me to the operating room and I overheard them, he will never make it. So.
Oh my goodness.
And so when I wake up, I was reborn.
So you thought, when I wake up, I'm going to creep everyone out by wandering around, poking around in dead bodies. So I guess your fear of death was gone.
Ever since, I have no fear of death. And then they listened into my chest, they examined me, so I said, I must be very, very precious. And ever since, I wanted to be a medical doctor. Finally, I became a doctor of the death.
What an incredible story. Who's going to crumble first?
I'm good at hypnosis, you know, this was my...
I had to close my eyes because my contact lenses were bothering me. I concede you that one.
Look at my finger.
How dare you? I don't know where it's been. I do know where it's been. Okay. What was the first attempt to is it plastinate or plasticate a body?
Plastinate.
Plastinate. How did that go? Did it work successfully from the very first attempt?
First attempt was a small piece of kidney, but it was black, it was shrunk, but I didn't give up. I thought that the principle works. When
So
the
you
principle
couldn't
works,
it didn't work the first time then?
It worked by the principle, but the specimen was not beautiful. It was shrunk, it was not good looking. So I wanted to bring aesthetics to anatomy.
Yeah.
I want to make the difference. I want to build up body pride. And therefore I had to work with better plastics, to improve the process. And this took a long time, from 1977 until 1990, the first whole body. In 1997, the first Body World show. And that it was beauty, you know, that I was able to preserve beauty beneath the skin, frozen in time between death and decay. I think this was important for me.
Most of us would look at that and not see that as a beautiful thing. If you look behind you, most of us see that as a little bit alarming to most of us, okay? And I know that's what's going on underneath most of us.
I give back life to them. I'm like to make anatomy emotional. And in this way, I need the poses. I need to transfer the feeling.
It's not, normally you see, in medical things, you see just bodies turn like that, that's it. But you have them playing cards and, look, there you go, he's sitting there he's waiting for a bus or something, you know. And he's all hanging out down there as well, look at that. And so you did it. And when did you first start making the poses? Did you initially just have them straight and then you start thinking, we'll have a little bit of fun here?
The first show was going on in Japan.
I bet the Japanese love you.
Yeah, and I put them in a very anatomical position like that.
Yes.
The only complaint I got, they look so frightening, they look so eerie, yes. They look like corpses. Yes. And then I was reminded to the Middle Age, to the Renaissance, where actually anatomists put the body in a lifelike display. I went to Italy, I learned it.
We can see the link between what it was and what it was. Can I ask you a question? You have a show here in Manchester now. How many bodies do you have on display in Manchester?
22.
22 bodies.
And about 150 specimens.
How do you travel with them? How do they travel? How is it to get bodies through customs?
Everybody has its own compartment, its own box.
So you have them in a case?
Headed, absolutely.
All wrapped up, safe and sound?
The British are not so squeamish. The Americans, I had a problem, you know. One time the customer, what do you have in there? I have a human head. Really? Take it out. So,
why would you say, if someone said there's a human head in the box, I don't mean you say take it out, you say, yeah, security. You wouldn't say,
I must do it because I'm the custom officer. Okay, I take it out. Wait a moment. He looked out of the window, take it out. Did you take it out? Yes. Put it in again. Okay, fine, thank you. You can go.
Yeah, he didn't even look at it. You know what? If ever you want to smuggle any gear through customs, Gunther's your man. Gunther, what's going to happen to your body when you're dead? Will you let them do to you what you do to others? Would you like to be plastinated?
Of course.
What do you mean, of course? Like it's the only answer.
What I did all my life, what I expect from the people around me.
Yeah, don't start on me. There's 4 young fellas over there who could do with a good skinning.
Of course. It will be a pleasure for me after my death to look, when my soul exists, how I can continue teaching. But what I will become...
What would they do with you? Where would they put you?
Up to my family, and they already now quarrel about it. You know, my wife, she thinks I should be in the exhibition and greet the visitors. Very important, more come.
Maybe they could have you with like a voice box in and you could say, hello, you know, when they come in, like Madame Tussauds. Hello.
My son has a different idea. My son thinks I should be cut in slices and then distributed all over the world.
Kids.
I like this.
They all go through phases like that. I wouldn't let it bother you, all right?
What would be your
Twiggy won't
choice?
even speak to one of hers, you know? It's like, don't let it bother you. Gunther, what do you got under the hat? You have something under the hat? Because I've never seen you without the hat, and I'm assuming you've got something under there. I'm hoping that your brain is exposed under there, like a kind of
This my head is philosophy, you know.
Do you ever take your hat off?
Never.
Never, ever?
Even when I sleep, you know, like this, it protects me. It's my talisman, you know.
You have your
And
hat on.
why? Because I believe in individualism. And the anatomists which I look up for, which I learned the posing, they come from the Renaissance, and they all had this hat on.
Yes.
Like,
Well, we have a picture, which is in your magnificent book.
Yes.
Who is that man? Did you know?
Dr. Tulpi was the mayor of Amsterdam, anatomist, and he actually did public dissection, public autopsy, which I started in Britain.
Would you like to see a clip of Gunther at work, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. You know it's going to be reasonably... If you're a bit squeamish, you might be, you know... Okay. Or we could get a volunteer from the audience down there. Okay. This isn't too bad, this clip, actually. This shows you how the incredible intricacy of the human form. Have a look at this. It's a quite remarkable sequence from Anatomy for Beginners, which I think was on Channel 4 a while back.
So as you see...
You know, what makes me a bit squeamish there, seeing the fingers that look so much like normal, regular, living fingers.
And seeing the tendon, that you have to be careful not to cut, be careful not to use the knives. And I know in Britain, the youngsters run around with too many knives.
Yeah, well...
Important.
Yeah, that's the only reason why we're worried about them all having knives, in case they cut through the print and you can't play around with them after they're... Another hoodie's been here, that one's no good, bin it. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in a grand design? Do you believe there's an intelligence that designed us, or do you think it was a matter of kind of some biological trial and error?
No, I have a different approach. As a scientist, as an inventor, I have to live from the doubt. So I believe my brain is not constructed to answer those questions. So I will be surprised, I will be happy when my soul will look at my specimen, but whether or not... I was so often wrong in my life, you know.
So you don't, basically, you don't know, and you're not so stupid as to commit yourself to an answer just yet.
Exactly.
Good work. Me too, Gunther. Come on. High five. Just think of how many tendons we're working to get out of there, eh? Well, you know, of course. What would you do with me if you were lucky enough to have a fantastic specimen like this come your way? What would you do with my... How would you position my magnificent physique for the pleasure of the gentlemen and specifically the ladies?
I saw you recently dancing around in the studio. Yes. Dancer. You would be a dancer.
A dancer?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And I can show you all of your muscles, all your single muscles from all perspectives. As a dancer would be the best.
Now, say a man comes to you and says, I will be a donor for you, Gunther, but can you make me look a little bit more muscular and a little bit more, you know, give it up.
It's not an issue because they're all anonymous.
Of course.
It's nothing for a postmodel to be proud.
Silly question.
You had a problem?
No, I've got no fucking problems. I'm not the one sitting wearing a hat indoors.
No, okay, when you have no fucking problem, you have no penis problem, of course. It doesn't go together.
Well, I suppose I asked for that. Come on then, let's have another one of them. Come on, let's have another one of them. Gunther. Wow, what a fantastic contribution you have made, not just to the world of science, but also to the world of entertainment. Because who would have thought that people all over the world would be queuing up, and people do, they literally queue around the block, thousands of people go, of all ages.
Thousands, millions, 25 million.
Oh, I don't blow your own trumpet. I'm doing a good enough job here, right? And they trust me. I'm like a bloody gravedigger over there. Right, now listen. Let's start again, good. Congratulations on your success, a huge success, a global phenomenon, that's what it is. And who would have thought that just it all came about because you got knocked on the head as a kid by a metal door?
Thank you, my potential body donor.
No,
Jonathan.
I'm not a body donor. Just think how many muscles had to do that little bit of twitching there for you. Christ, don't you ever blink?
I'm a hypnotist, I tell you.
No, don't try and confound me with words. I'm going to outstare you. coming at you, like Cleopatra. All right. If someone's just tuned in, I want to point out, this is... What do you want? Damn it. Gunther von Hagens, ladies and gentlemen, world's greatest blinking expert. How nice to meet you. Thank you, sir. Damn it. It was that close. Right? Oh, you just look like an old Jew now.
I just look like the chief rabbi. Oh, God.
I'll tell you what, this is the look, though, isn't it? Thank you, Gunther. Oh, look at that. Jesus Christ.
Yes. People... Mwah.
Right. No one wanted to see that. No one wanted that kiss.
I'm worried that people tuning in will be thinking, oh, Frank Skinner's let himself go.
What do you mean let himself go? Back together at last, ladies and gentlemen. Unplanned. Shall we get my next guest out, ladies and gentlemen?